Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Pup Twigs here. We're ready for another episode of Unleashed, and today we have on with us is Pup Xandr from Orlando, Florida. How are you?
Hey, good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. So, give me some background on the name Pup Xandr.
So, Xander originally came out of when I was in high school. There was this beautiful specimen of a man that I really admired and idolized. He never went to my school, but I always saw him at like different events from their school that we were competing against. So, whether it be like pep rallies or football games or whatnot. And his name was Xander. And at the time, to be out and gay was, especially with his level of attraction, was kind of very ballsy and bold. But he
Mm-hmm.
also had these qualities to him that I've always kind of admired. Like he's very strong, very determined, very confident, very dominant. Just everything that I envisioned that I wanted to strive for or to like improve on within myself. And so when I was coming up with a name, Xander was like the first thing that immediately came to my attention because I was like, well, that's exactly who I would aspire to be, and that's what I want Xander to be as his persona. So hence why Xander was born.
Oh, that's a great way to get the name and stuff. So does your pup have a born date when you finally decided to become a pup?
Yep. So I my born date is May 1st of 2022. So coming up in less than 30 days.
Yeah.
Um, but I was kind of dabbling in the community for probably like 5 or 6 months prior, so the beginning of last year. But it wasn't until I started to meet other pups online and really interact and kind of really find my identity within the community that I was like, okay, this is it. And I remember solidifying that date with a particular group of pups that I had made close friends with.
Oh, cool, cool. Um,
Mhm.
well, have you ever looked into getting a pup certificate for Pup Xander or something that some people that just doesn't interest them at all? But
Yep, I do have one, and I've shared and I've updated it again with including my alpha's name and everything on there.
oh, okay, cool, cool. Um, so I know you said you were coming up on a year now. So a year of being a pup, has there been anything that has been difficult with being Pup Xander?
Um, I would say just like navigating my identity and what Xander means to me, and you know where he belongs in the community, and just kind of really just exploration, right? Like you pick a date, you're born, and it's very similar to like like humans, right? Like we evolve, we change, we adapt, we learn about the trials and the tribulations that we go through, right? And we become better for them. And so, in that similar regard, just in a different headspace, when I'm Xander, I feel like I'm learning so much about this part of myself that that never thought would ever come up for me.
Okay. Um, is there anything that you would want to change that you've seen so far in this year with the pup community?
About myself, or
No, just in general, the community itself. There's maybe something you wanted to change, and maybe there's not.
um, I don't really think there's anything that stands out in particular. I think, I'm a true believer that everything happens for a reason. Um, I think if I were to kind of go back in time, it would just be very particular with like looking at resources or material and like learning about certain things on my own with
Hmm.
certain like things that I feel like people have shown me now that are really influential or really beneficial to me understanding the community. I wish I would have taken the time to know about that then and learn a little bit more earlier on. But that just comes with, exploration and time and getting to know pups and them sharing their own advice and stories with me. So,
Okay, all right. And I know with me doing many of these interviews, I found that a common hobby that most all the pups have is they're gamers. And I was wondering what kind of hobbies you have.
oh, so Xander really likes to work on classic cars. He's really into like the muscle car era, like 60s and 70s, a little bit of 80s, depending on what it is. Um, Xander did own some classic cars that I was restoring, but I had to kind of put that project aside and kind of focus on um, purchasing my first house and some other big kind of adulting kind of stuff.
Oh, of
But
course.
other than that, I mean, I really like to go to the beach. I do like water sports stuff, so like surfing, skiing, or um, I can't think of it. Water skiing, like
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
like that.
Okay. All
Uh,
right.
Also big into camping or just getting out in nature. I feel like Xander really connects with his inner like self when he's around like nature and like kind of disconnecting from the world and from the distractions of other people. Um, Socializing, getting out, meeting new people is also kind of stuff that I like to do. Go to the parks, theme parks, stuff like that.
Okay.
Um, yeah, reading, writing. I'm really into music, so kind of creating or listening to music, writing lyrics, stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
So
Nice.
kind of
Okay.
dabble all over the place.
You,
Yeah.
you just have all kinds of stuff that you get into there. So that's good. That's good. So do you belong to any of the puppy packs here in Orlando?
Not in Orlando, but I do belong to a pack out of Georgia.
Okay.
Hmm. So my alpha is Pup Link, and he actually was um, the one that kind of saved me or kind of brought me back into the pup community because at one
Hmm.
point I kind of was going through some struggles and I almost decided to hang up my puphood at one point last year, and I took some self care time and all of that, and Pup Link was really pivotal for me to feel like I could trust again and feel like I was getting that support from the community. And eventually he kind of offered, just to be there as a support. He didn't really offer the alpha title quite yet. But as we began to um, learn about each other and trust each other, he did eventually extend for me to like kind of look at his pack and be a part of his pack chat.
Hmm.
And then it just kind of organically happened where I felt like it was home. So,
Good. Okay. So if you knew a new person that was coming in wanting to get into the pup community, what kind of advice would you give them?
um, first thing I would say would be take your time, explore as much about the community as possible. So, like, don't rush into a pack. Um, I know sometimes it's like we get really almost like there's like a lust feeling that comes with it, like this part of ourselves that we're excited about, and we just want to like, you know, dive into everything. And there are certain um, communities where we can kind of easily get caught up in this like idea of puphood and packhood and community and all that. And so I would say you know one of the major things that I wanted to make sure was like if I was going to be in a pack, being very particular with my alpha. So I think that's a major one I would say is like there's no time frame, there's no right or wrong aspects to that. Like take your time, do you really, you know, you don't have to have gear, you don't have to have all this stuff. Like really explore that inner pup like mentality, get some, literature, talk to other pups out there, really get educated. And then slowly but surely, when you feel comfortable and it's right, then, you can make big decisions like getting into a pet.
Yeah, and that's some great advice. In fact, very common with the other pups that I've asked the same question to is you don't have to have gear to be a pup, and you don't, you really don't. So let's think about if you have the next pup that comes on in my next interview. If there's a question that you would want to ask them, what would that question be?
It would probably be something to the effect of like if, you know, as when you're in your own vulnerable space, as a human, we experience certain things or events, in a vulnerable thing in a certain way. So, as a pup, what would be your most, vulnerable experience that maybe you would feel comfortable sharing with somebody?
Okay, that's a great question. It's a great one. So this one for you came from Alpha Pup Pyro from Jamestown, Missouri. And it's a pretty simple one. It's just, do you prefer belly rubs or nose bumps?
I really like belly rubs. Um, Nose bumps are great. I'm not knocking it, but for me, I really get into like Xandr headspace, and I really like to get on my back and get belly rubs, and it really brings in. I actually just had that happen last weekend where it brought out like my really inner pup, like like almost like puppy stage.
Hmm.
Very playful, very energetic, just very like happy headspace. So to me, that's my favorite. That's where I get kind of the most joy.
All right, good, good. Well, is there anything else that Pup Xander would want to share with us here on this podcast?
I would say like don't take certain things so serious. Like sometimes pups when you first get involved, or especially on like social media, like there are certain things that people kind of take to an extreme or take to too personal or to heart, and so like this is our escape, right? Like this is our ability to be our genuine, authentic selves in this different headspace. And so, have fun with it. Like just play around with it, see what happens. Don't judge yourself. Like just this is like a non-judgmental community, and we really try to embrace uniqueness and multicultural, but different backgrounds. Like, you can just be you without there being some type of conditions or societal, stereotypes or expectations, right? So just really have fun with it. Um, the other thing I would say too is, just kind of be mindful of like if, I started off as a TikTok pup, and that's where I really found my creativity. And there's nothing wrong with that, but make sure you also are not closing yourself off to other pups and other experiences outside of the social realm, social media realm. There's a lot of other pups inside your backyard that can offer you amazing, great advice and or experiences, and it doesn't have to be just social media. It can be community right near you. So don't be afraid to get out there and try something new and meet other pups.
Okay, all right. And speaking of social media, if any of the other pups that go in and view these Pupcast, do you have any social media if they wanted to reach out to you that you would care to share?
Yep. So I have TikTok, and I also have Instagram. And it's my name as it is. So it's going to be Pup_Xandr with just an R. So Xandr.
Okay. And if you want to, when we end it, if you want to send that to me in a message, I will put that on the YouTube page when I post it as well.
Awesome.
So, I just want to say thank you for coming on and spending this a little bit of time with me, just to kind of deeper dive into Pup Xandr, and hope to see you out sometime soon. But just want to tell everybody that we'll see you guys later.
Awesome. Thank you.